Hello viewers, welcome back to English for my world. Language learning is a problem for some of the users. They are actually known as LEP, that is low English proficiency. This low English proficiency or low English proficiency, their problems and how to actually bridge the gaps is what I am going to talk to you before I start my session. So when I say low English proficiency, LEP, I am talking about people who don't use this language usually, who don't practice it properly. The 5 major reasons why there is low English proficiency or why there are low English proficiency are: number 1, they don't use the language frequently. They do not practice it frequently. Number 2, language learning atmosphere is not available for them. That is not available, meaning they cannot create that language learning atmosphere. There are no people who speak English, who encourage English speakers or English language users around them. So the lack of atmosphere is another reason, which they may not create for themselves or which is not available for them in the society. That is reason number 2. Reason number 3 is there is no contextualized or research-based material that is available in the market. Based on the context, what words should be used, what expressions should be used, what are the common mistakes, how to learn new expressions when we read something, maybe a newspaper or magazine or whatever English that we read around us, maybe in terms of hoardings, maybe in terms of whatever English that you see around you, maybe through social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, chatting, all these places, how to actually learn this English that is available around them. The right material is not available for them in the market, in the society. That is reason number 3. Reason number 4 is no right person to guide them to learn correct English. This is another reason for this low English proficiency. And the last one, the last but not the least, is we have seen number 1 is they don't practice it well. Number 2, there is no language learning atmosphere. Number 3, no material, proper material, maybe in terms of books or whatever. Number 4, no right person to guide them to learn correct English. The last one is the assumption of these learners or these low proficients that they can easily pick up language through some shortcut methods. Language can be learned through shortcut methods, but that may not be correct way of learning a language. It should be learned consistently and constantly. It should be practiced through perseverance, through a method, through an approach. One should learn language. Based on a context, we learn new phrases, what sort of sentences, what sort of words. So step by step, one after the other, language has to be acquired. Language has to be learnt in a systematic manner, in an organized manner. It cannot be and should not be learnt in bits and pieces from here and there. It can be, but it may not be systematic. We can remember those expressions, but it should be language, English language should be learnt in an organized or in a systematic manner. Don't go for shortcut methods, go for a systematic procedure. And to teach such systematic procedure, here I am in front of you, speaking to you through this channel. Right. Okay. Today we are going to study how to express words, views, opinions, ideas, or maybe how to express dissatisfaction. We express satisfaction, we also express dissatisfaction when we are not satisfied by something. How to express such dissatisfaction? I am talking about maybe a context, a situation where a coach of a team, of a school team, is talking to two athletes, athlete 1, athlete 2. Let us name them. Coach can be a coach, but athletes, we can name them as Suresh and Ramesh, the two athletes. Now the coach is expressing his dissatisfaction by saying, I am not very satisfied, I am very dissatisfied. I am terribly dissatisfied by your poor performance. Your athletics performance is very bad, very poor. I am very dissatisfied. I am terribly dissatisfied by your poor performance, is what the coach says. Now the first athlete, imagine Suresh. Suresh is talking to coach. He says, sir, well, we should not be blamed for the complete poor performance. The coach shouts back, what? Do you mean to say you did not perform badly in the athletics that were conducted? Suresh replies, well, sir, we take the blame, but we have to explain some reasons for that. Why is that we could not perform well? Why is that the performance was bad? We need to explain the reasons for it, is what Suresh tells the coach. Well, the coach wants to know, so he says, so what are the reasons? May I know the reasons for your bad performance, for your poor performance? Here comes the first athlete, Suresh. He says, well, we don't have proper facilities in our school. We don't have proper amenities. We don't have proper playground to get enough practice for good performance. You know, we don't have that. We always have to practice in very small spaces all the time. There is no proper spacious playground for us. A good playground where we can get enough practice. Where is that? That facility is not available in our school, in our institution. And then comes the next athlete into picture. He kicks into picture and he says, because the coach wants to know the other reason. The coach says, and what is the other reason for your bad performance? The next athlete says, well, there is no space for sports and games in our timetable. There is no space. And it is very difficult to get permission during other class hours, during regular class hours. Then says the coach, I think I agree with you. These reasons seem to be valid reasons. We will fix up a meeting with the principal. We'll ask for a meeting with the principal to discuss these problems so that we can improve our performance, so that we can better our performance in the days to come, in the months to come. Right? So this is a brief conversation, a short conversation, a pep talk that happened between a coach and the two athletes, one Suresh and the other Ramesh. What are the words that are used to express dissatisfaction in this context? So I'm going to write those expressions on the board, those words and phrases for you, so that you can recall the context when you use it for yourselves. Here we go. The coach said when he expressed his dissatisfaction, let me write the sentence on the board. I'm terribly dissatisfied, or I'm terribly disappointed. You can also use the word disappointed by your poor performance, or by your bad performance. So when we say I'm terribly disappointed, I'm awfully dissatisfied by terribly disappointed, terribly dissatisfied, awfully disappointed, awfully dissatisfied by your poor performance, bad performance. He's expressing his dissatisfaction by using these words. So we can also say, I'm thoroughly upset. I'm very upset by your performance. I did not expect this from you. I thought you would put up a better show, but it was such a poor and bad show, was what the coach said. And when the athletes replied, they used words such as proper facilities. We do not have proper facilities. Facilities, the other synonym for facilities is amenities. There is no proper playground for us to play. There is no proper scope given to us. We are not given proper opportunities at different places, different words at different places. Secondly, the other athlete has used is, there is no space for sports and games. In our timetable, most of the time is allocated, most of the time is allotted for the regular hours, regular study hours, regular subjects. So it is very difficult to ask for permission for practice. So there is no space, there is no proper space available. You can remember this phrase, remember this expression and use it in your communication, in your interaction. So, well, these are some of the expressions that we could study, we could learn from this context. Let us now look at some of the new expressions which we can use. What are some of the new expressions that we can learn? They are, for instance, for example, we can say cold welcome and warm welcome. When you go to a wedding, for instance, if you are given a warm welcome, that means you are well taken care of. You have been very affectionately and lovingly received by the host. Received by the host. Who is a host? Host is the one who is conducting the wedding, who invited you for the wedding. And who is the guest? You are the guest who attended the wedding. So when you receive a warm welcome, a very warm reception, remember welcome is also named as reception. That's the reason when you go to a hotel, you have reception at the front desk. So reception is receiving the guest. When we say it was such a warm welcome, it was such a warm reception, they warmly welcomed us. The host very warmly welcomed us to the wedding. We were given a very warm welcome, warm reception. Very lovingly, very affectionately, she invited us for the wedding. The same thing, the opposite of warm welcome is cold welcome. The opposite of warm is cold. Well, we were not well taken care of. We weren't well taken care of. There was no proper care, there was no proper attention when we attended the wedding. We were given a cold shoulder, we were given a cold welcome, a cold reception, meaning it was not a proper welcome, right? So remember this warm welcome and cold welcome and try to use it when you in times of need, depending on the context, depending on the situation. Right. The other new expression that I would like to introduce today is, probably I can say, you clear out So probably if we number this as 1, number 2 is clear out. When you clear out something, you tidy the place by removing all the unnecessary and unwanted things, so that the room is tidy, the room looks clean and neat. The opposite of tidy is shabby, messy. Imagine if a room is messy and untidy, messy, we don't feel like sitting there. We don't feel like spending time in a room that is untidy, that is shabby, that is messy. We always love to sit in a room that is clean, neat and tidy. So when we say clear out the room, meaning tidy the room, remove all the unwanted things, make it tidy, a clean place, a neat place, right? Okay. Similarly, the third expression that I want to introduce is when you use words such as bread and butter. Bread and butter or tasty is wrong. We all know bread and butter as breakfast. So we never say bread and butter or tasty. Bread and butter is tasty. Wow, bread and butter, I love it. We have Amul tagline that says utterly butterly delicious. You know, you can learn lots of English through taglines and punchlines too. I love those taglines. Why don't you try them? Utterly butterly delicious, tasty. So bread and butter is tasty. You should never say bread and butter are tasty, because they are two different things. Bread is one, butter is another. So you cannot say bread and butter are tasty. Always say bread and butter is tasty, because these two words bread and butter, they represent one idea, that is tasty. Tasty. That's the reason we should always use the verb in singular, not in plural. So never say are tasty, always say is tasty. Is tasty. Something like law and order is very bad. Law and order. These are two ideas representing one notion, that is bad or good. Law and order is good, law and order is bad in the state. Law and order is very bad. So when two nouns represent one common idea, the verb that is used is always singular, it is never plural. Remember that and use it. Fine. So friends, viewers, we have seen how to express dissatisfaction. We have also seen the words, phrases involved in expressing dissatisfaction. We have learnt new expressions such as cold welcome, warm welcome, clearing out a place, clearing out a room, meaning to tidy up a place, tidy up a place, make it clean and tidy. And we have also seen that words such as bread and butter, law and order, they are followed by a singular form of the verb, not a plural form of the verb. So let us learn some correct English usage, correct English expressions. The first one is when we say the film or the movie is too well made, the film is too well made, or the movie is too well made. The word TOO, too, is used in the case of negative contexts, negative situations or negative references. He is too weak to walk, meaning he is very weak to walk. I like the food too much. People use the word too much. You cannot say, if you like the food, you should say, I like the food very much. Such lovely food. Sumptuous meal. What taste, what quality, okay, what flavors. Wow, I like it very much. But never ever say, I like the food too much. You see, people wrongly use this very much and too much because they don't know the difference between where to use very much and where to use too much. There is one proverb that says, too much is too bad. doing too much is too bad. So we should know the limitations. We should know the limits. Similarly, in this example, in this sentence, the film is too well made is wrong, or the movie M-O-V-I-E, M-O-V-I-E, the movie is too well made is wrong. So what should be the correction? The movie is very well made. Remember that very well denotes a positive comment. It denotes a positive review or remark, feedback. Whereas too well made is not grammatically, logically and meaningfully correct in this context. That will be incorrect to say too well made. I like it too much. You always say I like it very much. Don't ever say I like it too much. Right? Okay. The next one is, today morning I met Joseph. Today morning I met Joseph. Well, in sentences like this, you better say I met Joseph this morning instead of saying today morning I met Joseph. I met him this morning, or I met Joseph this morning. This would be better. Right? Okay. The third correct English usage expression that I have for you in this session is, imagine when you meet someone in the night, say the time is 8 p.m. How do you greet the person? Do you say good night uncle, or do you say good evening uncle? What is the right expression that is used there? Imagine the time is 8 p.m. and you are meeting a respectable person, a person whom you respect. So how do you greet him? Do you say good night uncle, or do you say good evening uncle? When you meet a person at 8 p.m. in the night, you don't say good night uncle or good night sir. You always say good evening uncle or good evening sir, though the time is 8 o'clock in the night. Right? Fine. To ask a person about living at a particular place, maybe Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, wherever, what would be the right question? Is the right question, how long are you in Hyderabad? Is this the right question? Or how long have you been in Hyderabad? Which one is better? I have written two sentences on the board. The first one is how long are you in Hyderabad? The second one is how long have you been in Hyderabad? So, when compared to the first sentence, the second is much better. The first may not convey the idea, the view properly when compared to the second sentence. The second one is much better when compared to the first one. The second one says, how long have you been in Hyderabad, or how long have you been living in Hyderabad? And the answer can be, I have been living in Hyderabad since 2000, since 1995. I have been living in Hyderabad for 15 years, for 20 years, right? So remember this question, this is a common question that is asked. How long have you been living here? How long have you been in Hyderabad? Instead of how long are you in Hyderabad, right? So I would also, since we are talking about time, I would also like to mention a few things about how to express time, how to talk about time. For example, if the time is 6:30, do we say only 6:30, or is there any other way of saying 6:30? Well, we can say it is 6:30, half past 6, meaning the time is 6:30. If we say 6:15, the time is 6:15. If we say 6:15, the time is 6:15. And if we say 5:45, that means the time is 5:45. I repeat, I've told you three expressions. The first one, 6:30, meaning 6:30. 6:15, the time is 6:15. 5:45, meaning the time is 5:45. Right. So we have talked about several things in this session, beginning from dissatisfaction, new expressions, cold and warm welcome, and clearing out a place. We have seen the correct usage of English, such as I like it very much. Remember, it is not I like it too much. I like the food very much. Don't say I like the food too much. I like the place very much. You don't say I like the place too much. It can be a historical construction or a park or whatever that you visited. Instead of saying today morning, say this morning, this night, right? And instead of saying how long are you in a place, it is better if you say how long have you been in this place? How long have you been in Mumbai? How long have you been in Delhi? Meaning, how long have you been living in Delhi? Viewers, remember all these expressions and do not forget to practice, because practice makes you perfect. Thank you for watching.